I've had a president hosting the awards before. This is the first. I'm sure they'll give me great reviews, right? You know, they'll say he was horrible, he was terrible, it was a horrible situation. No, we'll do fine. I've watched some of the people that host. Jimmy Kimmel was horrible. And some of these people, if I can't beat out Jimmy Kimmel in terms of talent, then I don't think I should be president.
The laughter in the studio started the way late-night laughter always starts. Quick, easy, and comfortable. Jimmy Kimmel walked out with his notes in hand, smiled at the crowd, and gave the audience a few light jokes before the room realized this was not going to be a normal monologue. Because outside that studio, Donald Trump had not simply mocked Kimmel's ratings or attacked his jokes. The story being discussed on screen was sharper than that. Trump had called him a paid propagandist, a scripted fraud, a man who read lines for ratings instead of telling the truth. It was not just an insult, it was an attempt to make the audience doubt the messenger before they ever looked at the message. Kimmel understood exactly what was happening. He did not answer with a rage post. He did not yell into a camera. Instead, he waited until the lights were bright, the audience was listening, and the cameras were steady. Then he picked up a printed screenshot of the Trump statement and read it slowly, word for word. No funny voice, no performance. Just the words sitting in the air like evidence.
Trump is planning to use his time on stage to launch an attack on the media outlets he doesn't like. So it will be a rare opportunity to see the president express his displeasure with the press. But Trump promised that this is going to be the greatest, hottest, and most spectacular dinner of any kind ever. The only thing hotter than this dinner are his diapers on the golf course.
The crowd laughed at first, but the laughter became quieter as Kimmel placed the page on his desk and looked into the camera. When someone can't beat the joke, he said softly, they try to beat the teller. The room tightened. That line did not land like a punchline. It landed like an explanation. Kimmel was not just defending himself. He was showing the audience the method. If a powerful man cannot erase the mirror, he tries to convince people the mirror is broken. Then the screen behind Kimmel lit up with 3 simple columns: claim, source, verification.
President Trump is said to be hashing out a deal that would give the U.S. government up to a 90% ownership stake in Spirit Airlines. And who better to own Spirit than the man who ran his own airline into the ground? We're planning to invest $500 million. What is Spirit going to do with 500 men? They have one Economy Plus seat, and it's in the pilot's lap.
Kimmel said he was not asking anyone to trust him blindly. He was asking them to check. That was the difference. Insults require almost nothing. Specifics require work. A person can call someone a liar all day long, but the real test begins when he is asked to name the lie. The first claim appeared on the screen. Nobody watches Kimmel. Then came the clips. Trump mentioning him, Trump complaining about him, Trump quoting him, Trump responding to him in speeches, interviews, and posts. Each clip carried a date and timestamp. When the montage ended, Kimmel turned back to the crowd and said, "That is a lot of attention for a guy who says he never watches."
But Donald Trump needs a miracle. His poll numbers are way down, and I, for one, cannot think of a better way to get Americans to rally around him than spending $500 million of our dollars to save the least popular airline in the history of the planet Earth. Are we really going to throw a life raft to an airline that doesn't even have a life raft? You know, I flew Spirit recently, and they wouldn't let us off the plane until everyone Venmo'd the pilot for gas money.
The studio erupted, but Kimmel did not stay in the joke for long. He had a bigger point to make. The second claim appeared, Kimmel lies for money. The room quieted again. Kimmel explained that the monologues being discussed came from public clips, statements, and reporting viewers could check themselves. Then he faced the camera and made the challenge that changed the room. If he had lied, this would be the easiest moment in the world to prove it. No speeches, no slogans, no insults. Just one sentence. Behind him, a timer appeared. 30 seconds. Kimmel looked straight into the camera and said, "Donald, name one sentence I said this week that was false, and tell us the correct version." At first, the audience laughed because it sounded simple. One sentence, one correction, that was all. But then the studio phone lit up, and the room went still. Kimmel pressed the line open. A heated voice came through the speaker, full of anger about corrupt networks, fake comedy, dishonest media, and unfair treatment. The audience reacted immediately, but Kimmel did not interrupt. He simply pointed at the timer and repeated the question. Which sentence was false? The voice kept going. More attacks, more complaints, more accusations, but no answer. 10 seconds remain. Kimmel asked again, calm and steady. What was the sentence? 5 seconds. The caller attacked the media again. 3 seconds. Kimmel sat perfectly still. 2 seconds. 1 second. The buzzer sounded. For a moment, nobody moved. Then Kimmel lifted his hand slightly and said, there it is. When a man can't correct the record, he attacks the person holding it. The studio exploded. The applause was not just loud, it was relieved. Trump's attack had been designed to make Kimmel look dishonest, but Kimmel had turned it into a test of specifics, and the attack collapsed the moment it had to produce one. For older Americans watching at home, the moment carried a serious meaning. Public life used to value accountability. If a man said someone lied, he was expected to show the lie. If a leader made a charge, he was expected to back it up. But in the modern noise, accusation often travels faster than truth. Kimmel's challenge slowed the noise down long enough for people to hear the empty space inside it. That was why the room changed. It was not because Kimmel shouted louder, he did not. It was not because he insulted Trump better. He did not need to. He simply asked for one clean fact, one clear correction, one sentence that could survive being checked. And when no answer came, the silence did more damage than any joke could have done. By the end of the segment, the audience was no longer laughing at a feud between a comedian and a politician. They were watching a lesson in power. A powerful man can accuse, he can smear, he can call names. But the real test is whether he can stand in front of the public and be specific. Because when the record is clean, correction is easy. And when the record cannot be corrected, all that is left is noise.